Hey friends, Jana here with the Scrappiness creative crew, and today we are going to dive into getting more out of your stamps and dies. I'm going to be using the cross stitch rectangle, the never ending rectangle, the dress up quokka, and the merry critters, as well as the Quokka coffee paper pad. So we got a little bit of everything. And I think you're going to be surprised what we're making and how it turns out. So I went ahead and I positioned the smaller rectangle die inside the stitched one and ran it through. And I'm just here trying to figure out which paper I want to do. Oftentimes I will um, audition papers to see which one works the best. And I like the pink, but we're actually going to go with the pattern paper from the Quokka Coffee paper pad. Now, I love quokkas. You could say I'm obsessed with quokkas and coloring them. So we're going to color the everyday, not the everyday, the dress up quokka. And I have a couple of them stamped out already. So I'm going to get those colored up and cut out. If you want to take a screenshot, there are the colors that I use for the two different ones that I kind of do, a lighter one and a darker one. So this is the lighter one. And then here's the twist. And here's the getting more out of your stamps and dies. I have the Merry Critters stamp set and die set, but I don't have any Easter quokkas or anything Easter for that matter. So as I was going through my stamp sets trying to figure out what I could turn into an Easter card, I saw these little ears peeking out. Now I'm going to color it in, and we're going to cut the ears off the bunny. They were perfect. They were the perfect fit, and it just worked out so well. So don't give up if you don't have, an actual like Easter set. Look at your sets that you have and see if maybe you have something that you can not really repurpose, but turn into, something that you can use to fit that holiday or that season or, whatever you're working for. So I did use the dies. I was a little off when I cut this one. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of fussy cut around where I had too much on one side. And then I'm going to cut it out so it's kind of like a little bunny ear headband. And I was shocked. These little bunny ears fit perfectly on the dress up quokka. So it could be, part of the dress up thing. And I love this little kind of lighter one that I have here. Those are using the colors that were listed on the top. And I'm just going to glue this down. And I glue both of them down because I'm not sure which quokka I'm going to use for my card. And I ended up only using one. So I have another one with ears on it, which, it's always good to have those little things tucked away. You never know when you might need it again. And I can sit and color the quokkas. I have tons of them stamped out, and I color them in and have them ready. So I'm using one of the A2 full shaker card panels from Scrappiness. Now, when you use this, remember, you got to take the protective coating off the front. There's a little label there. So I'm going to glue this frame onto the top of the shaker pouch first. So then I'm not trying to get it glued down over things that are bending or anything like that. And I use liquid glue to glue against the acetate or the plastic, the pouch. So we've got it ready. And then I go back over and I just kind of reinforce all of those creases where it's going to fold over around my back panel. And I did end up going, you can see it off to the side there, with the polka dots from the Quokka coffee paper pad. I just love it. I love those dots. and they kind of, look Easterish or springish. And then I do pull in the pink as well. So I'm going to trim this down just a little bit to make sure that it fits nice and snugly inside there. And then I pull off all the adhesive strips and I go with my bone folder again and just give it a really good smushing. You don't want any of that coming apart, and you don't want any of your shaker bits sneaking out. Now I chose, for my shaker bits, I chose the pink confetti sequins. I have some hot pink sequins, a little mixed pack that came in with an order from Catscrappiness, and then I have the carrot sprinkles. And the carrots they're so cool. So I'm just making sure they're not stuck together. I'm going to add those in first and make sure I keep them flat. I don't want any up on their side to where they get stuck in the pouch. And then I'm going to add my other sprinkles. I love making shaker cards. I don't think to do it very often, but I do like them. I like that they make noise. I pulled in a few nonpareils from my stash, just some white ones, to give the card some noise. Right there, I'm showing you that sometimes sequins can be a little staticky. So what I do is I take a dryer sheet and I cut it into little pieces, and I pop that into either the Ziploc bag or whatever I'm keeping my sequins or sprinkles in, and it helps reduce the static. So there's your little, your little tip for the day. Put a dryer sheet in with your sequins and it helps reduce some of the static electricity. I'm struggling with the top here because, yeah, it's still taped down. So we get that undone, we get those added in, and off to the left there you can see that I cut a rectangle. That's not a rectangle. I cut an oval out of the pink paper from the coffee paper pad, and that is going to be my makeshift Easter egg. I know it's not quite egg shaped, but it works. I didn't pull out a sentiment for this yet. I couldn't find one that was perfect enough, so I may just leave it blank and just the shaker bits and the Quokka on the front and put a sentiment of some sort inside when I get ready to send this off. So I'm going to put a little carrot here with my Quokka so he looks like a little bunny, or she. And then I'm going to glue this, just again, auditioning, where am I going to put this? Off to the side? Maybe? Nope. I'm going to put it front and center. The Quokka's got to be center of attention. So we get this glued down. Again, I'm just using some liquid adhesive. It works well on the acetate. Once it's dry, it's stuck. It's going to stay there. Plus it gives me a little bit of wiggle room if I don't have this exactly where I want it. And I love how the pink paper works kind of as a dyed Easter egg, with the little design there. It looks perfect for Easter. We'll get him, her, the Quokka on there. Then I'm going to put it onto my card base, and I use a top folding card base. I just like playing with the shaker cards. And I do pull in some score tape on the back just to make sure that it is like super stuck on there. So I put that around the perimeter, and then I'm going to go over the top with some liquid adhesive. Again, so I can move it around if I need to, but then once it's down, and that score tape or tear tape just really gives it that little extra bonding to make sure that this card front is not going anywhere. Gotta make sure my card's going the right way. I have a tendency to put my card fronts on upside down. So there we go. There is my take on getting more out of your stamps and dies. I hope you have enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Make sure you give a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you.